Hi, so today I decided that I'm going to take these little canvases that I've bought at the Dollar Tree. They're kind of cute actually, but I've decided that I want to do something different with them. So I'm going to make a memory board with them. So I've got my 4 little boards and I've got some paints and got my white paint. And then I think what I'm going to do is just glue these together to make one large surface. So I'm putting the hot glue in on the edges there. And I'm just trying to make sure that everything lines up, because that's one thing you don't want, is to start doing a project and then end up with wonky edges. So I've got the first 2 glued together there. And I'm just holding pressure on them to make sure that they dry before I let go, because I don't want the canvas to rip and come apart. So then the next 2 that I'm going to do, they don't exactly fit right. So I'm lining up the edges. I'd rather have spaces in the middle, because what I'm going to do is end up putting that foam board on top of them. So I want the edges to line up. That's what I'm doing right there. So you'd see that it's short. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we line up the edges. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this onto my foam board and I will trace around it, and that way I can just cut on the cut with the X-Acto knife on the pencil marking so it can be nice and straight. And I'm just going to finish up cutting it with my X-Acto knife. Now it's time to hot glue your foam board down onto your canvases, but you want to make sure you get it nice and straight. You don't want to have it's sitting at an angle, because then the whole piece is going to look crooked. So you'll see that there's a space right there. So what I'm doing is just taking the hot glue and pushing it in there and gluing all the spaces that are coming up. So I decided to do an acrylic pour technique on this, and little piece of advice, don't do this on this foam board. So I've seen, if you want to look up what the acrylic pour technique is, just look it up on YouTube. You'll be able to see thousands of very talented people pull it off amazingly. Well, I thought I could pull this off on foam board. You can't, because foam board is nothing more than a little piece of styrofoam with a piece of paper like spray adhesive on top. Well, when you use acrylic paint mixed with water, which is what I did, it'll make the paper warp up. Well, then when the paper warps, the whole project is warped. So you'll see me try to fix it later on by stabilizing the back of it with a wooden, with that wooden stir, paint stirrer you saw me with. So I just wouldn't suggest this technique at all with foam board, but it turned out in the end. I finished the project, you know, I just went with it. I kept fixing my mistakes per se, and I just went with it. So, I guess if you want to be creative, go ahead and try it out, but I wouldn't suggest using it on the foam board. So I will say that this technique is really cool, and it creates a really stunning effect, but you have to have tons of paint, which I don't have tons of paint, and you, like I said, you have to put it on a canvas or something. This foam board is not meant for water and paint. So since I didn't have a lot of paint, this is why I'm just kind of dabbing. So I'm trying to move the color around. And I didn't want to do it with a brush because I didn't want brush strokes. So I would rather have the effects of my finger dabbing it as opposed to like moving it around with, you know, a paintbrush or a sponge applicator or something. So then I just took straight from the bottle and started dabbing it around. As you can see, I don't mind getting dirty with my hands. I think that if you're an artist, you should have paint on your hands at all times. I'm just kidding. So I don't mind having paint in my fingernails, and I don't mind it. I'm an artist. I like to create. So naturally I'm going to have paint on me. I attempted at just pouring it straight from the bottle. As you can see, it's globbed there. So I just went ahead and watered it down with water, which again, it warped the foam board, but it turned out like really pretty as far as the design went. It was just the wrong thing to do it on. If you want it, like I said, if you want to get this, you need to use a canvas. So here it is, guys. Here's the final look. It's really shiny because it's still wet. So I'm gonna let it dry, and I left the house for about 2 hours, and when I came back it still wasn't dry yet. So I'm gonna take a blow dryer to it to make sure that everything gets nice and dry. So So here I am drying it. I'm trying to make sure that all the paint's dry on it. As you can see, that foam board completely warped up. You can see it completely pulled away from the canvas, which is why I said don't use the foam board. So in a second here, you'll actually see me pull off a whole bunch of paint out of the center, because even though the edges are starting to dry, I put my hand smack dab right in the middle, and it's still super duper wet in the center of it. So I actually, when I put my finger down, pulled up, look at that. I pulled up paint. I pulled it actually off of the foam board, and every time I touch it, more paint comes up. So why do I continue to touch it? I don't know, that's just me. So anyway, it's really just, it becomes part of the, I guess, abstract of the painting at the end, because I don't fix it. It just stays like that. So here it is time to re-glue everything. I have to go back in and re-glue the foam board back onto these canvases because it pulled away so much. So all I'm doing is just trying to go around the edges and re-glue everything. So here's what I end up doing. You can see how warped it is. I end up taking the paint stick, the paint stirrer, and just pushing it right in the center there to get everything to come back together and straighten out again. If I wouldn't have done that, the whole project would have looked silly, because it would have been completely warped and concave, and it would have looked ridiculous. So here's where these tumbling tower game pieces come in. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. I end up just gluing the natural wood pieces on the top of it and then applying it down the side. There's dark brown pieces there, but I don't use them. I just use the natural wood. And then I go over it with a black shoe polish from the Dollar Tree. I decided, since the tumbling tower piece is not going to fit all the way down the side, I still want to cover up the part of the canvas that you're going to see. So I took these black Sharpie markers. I don't even think they're Sharpie, they're Avery, I think, but they're black permanent markers. I think I got them at the Dollar Tree a long time ago. And I'm just coloring the side in black so it will blend in with everything. And if you go up and look at this craft, you'll see that it's totally like glued together and it's not all one piece, but it comes out looking so cute in the end that it's rustic, and you can tell it's handmade, and I kind of like that about it. Alright, now that I'm done coloring the sides black, time to start gluing these Jenga pieces on. So I decided to start gluing on the top first, and then just following it down the side when I was done with all of the top. So then my camera quit recording and I didn't even notice it. So here's everything completely glued on and all the black shoe polish already on the Jenga pieces. I left the part towards the painting just plain because I didn't want to take a chance of getting the black shoe polish on the actual background. So there's a piece that I'm gluing right now. I'm gluing a piece of flower onto. It's missing the Jenga piece because a whole piece didn't fit in there and I didn't have any way of cutting a Jenga piece. So I just left it blank and decided I was going to put flowers there. This is where I took the thumbtacks and I just stuck them into the Jenga pieces on the side. I measured up, I believe, 5 inches because I wanted 3 rows of twine and the whole project was like 17 inches, I think. So I just roughly did 5 inches up on each side. So now I'm just going to fill in a whole bunch of areas with these little white flowers that I got. I have no idea where the white flowers are from. I literally have bags full of fake flowers in my house. So I couldn't even tell you where they were from. Some of them are probably from Michael's, some of them are from the Dollar Tree. I don't know. I just wanted to do a whole corner full of white flowers. So I'm just going to keep gluing flowers until I think it looks good. Now I'm just taking the twine and I'm wrapping it around those thumbtacks that I previously pushed into the sides. And that's what I'm going to hang my adorable miniature little clothespins on. I decided it needed another little flower up in the corner there. So I'm just going to add one little flower up there. I won't go as crazy as I did in the corner. Alright, here is my new little office space that I created for myself. I was thinking about videotaping this part, but I didn't. So the other day I was like, I really want a desk. I need an office space. I've got the office stuff all in there. Dog's butt in the way as usual. So I was like, I need a table. I need a desk. So that's Hannah's little baby dolls up there. I didn't even see that. So I was like, you know what? We don't have it in our budget for a desk. So I grabbed that foldable table that I was taking to craft fairs and I threw some marble contact paper on it. So this is my desk. I made this vase myself. I think it was a $3 vase from Walmart. I just bought some craft paint, poured it in there, and let it dry. I got my little clipboard there.
Too many of these.
That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just for a minute appreciate this memo board that I just made? Can we just? Let me get up to it See if I can get some better lighting going on because it looks way better
It's lighting.
where I am. Okay, so here we are.
This is gonna be my school table. This is gonna be kind of the craft table.
That's the office table. The crafts table is still the kitchen. So look at that. The first note that I put up there is to remind myself to be awesome, because you can be awesome every day. So that's it. I really love how it turned out. It was a process. I wasn't quite sure at some times if this was really going to come to light, if this was really going to be something. But it ended up turning out pretty nice, I'd say. I really like the colors and how it blends in with the rest of the look of this office area back here. I've got a lot of, see, let me fix, there we go. So I've got a lot of neutral colors, because you guys know I love neutral colors, but you gotta have pops of color. You really do. Let me move her baby dolls so you guys can kind of get a view.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I really like it. It's comfortable. I sat down and paid bills yesterday. I sat down and planned for the week. I mean, it was nice. I need to get the bird feeder out of there. I need to get that little welcome to our home, that carrot thing out of there. But other than that, I'm really happy with this space. I would like to, you know, eventually have a real desk and maybe, you know, a rug underneath, and you know, those are things that are going to come at another time because they're just not in the budget right now. So when you don't have a budget for something, improvise, guys. I always tell you to improvise. And that's it. So I will talk to you guys later, and take care of yourself.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. Good job, Hannah.